Who had to be dragged out of a restaurant drunk as a skunk to go and perform at his own concert? Well, today I want to tell you about a Finnish composer by the name of Jean Sibelius. His name at birth was actually Johann Sibelius, and he was born in 1865 in a little town in the south of Finland. At the time, it was actually Russia. His father was a physician, but when little Johann was only 2 years old, his father passed away. So he was raised by his mother and by his grandmother. There was not a lot of money, but there was a lot of love and a lot of discipline. When little Johann was still a little boy, he heard violin and he fell in love with the sound and he started studying violin. He loved it. His dream was to be a concert violinist. He ended up going to school. He first went to Helsinki and then he went and studied in Berlin and then he went and studied in Vienna. He also eventually, of course, started studying composition and fell in love with that. He never lost his love for violin. He just wanted to do just more than that. He was studying a lot of the German Romanticism and he loved that and appreciated that, enjoyed it, but he really wanted to find his own voice. By the 1890s, he is starting to write some beautiful pieces and he really gets a breakthrough. He writes there's quite a few pieces, but one of them is Finlandia and it is beautiful. We still know Finlandia and love it. He really did not like being called like a political musician or a political writer, but he was, because his music was entranced with the nationalism of Finland. They were trying to get independence from Russia and they needed their own voice, and he was one of those that was able to give them their voice. He continues to compose and his pieces are phenomenal and beautiful and everyone loves him, and he gets very famous and he starts traveling the mainland of Europe and then ends up traveling Britain and even goes to America. Now the pressure of all this gets to him, his anxiety goes up and he starts self-medicating with alcohol, which becomes a problem for the rest of his life. He also meets a girl. Her name is Aino. She is very intelligent, but more importantly, she's very patient and very kind. And in 1892, the two of them get married. They're living in Helsinki, and he becomes part of the famous drinking club. And this is like a group of bohemian artists of all art forms, and they believe that drinking and being intoxicated is one of the things that makes them such a good artist. Not really healthy. So he is drunk all the time, or very much. And this is at one point he is drinking champagne, eating oysters. His wife has to find him and drag him back to go to this concert that he's supposed to perform. Now he gets up there, he's completely drunk, waddles in, conducts this amazing performance, and people are just astounded and in love with him and forget that he's drunk. Now, poor Aino, his wife, she's having to like look through taverns and pubs often, frequently. There's deadlines, there's things that he has to do, and he forgets about it because he's out drinking and being this wild, crazy person. So she keeps finding him, bringing him back home so that he can do his thing. It's not that he hates composing, he just kind of forgets all about it. So she really makes sure that, one, he's still composing. She makes sure that he's physically okay and financially okay and alive. Well, it gets to the point where she doesn't think this is going to work for much longer, and some of the people around him that love him also don't think. So she decides to take him and move him to the countryside and remove him physically from this drinking club. This saves his life. So they moved to the countryside in 1904, and they call their new home Ainola, named after his wife, who was always this calm foundation for him. Now he's surrounded by forest, by a lot of winter and peace, and this does him a lot of good. And he starts writing some of his most amazing things. He wrote 7 symphonies in total. Now the last ones were written there, and they are gorgeous, and they sound very Scandinavian. The beauty of Scandinavian music or any of their art is that they don't have any frills. They don't have any more than what is absolutely necessary. And he starts doing that with his music as well. And it is gorgeous. Sadly, by 1926, he kind of goes into this self-imposed creative silence. He gets so critical of his own work. He has such a tendency for perfectionism that all of a sudden nothing is good enough anymore. And for the next 30 years, he barely composes anything. In 1857, he passes away with his wife by his side and 5 of his daughters. One died at a very young age. So he passed away peacefully at Ainola, and he is remembered forever. We know him for his music, of course, but then there's also this tension that is constant in his life that we can hear in the music, where there's this chaos, but then there's this calm at the same time. There's this excess crazy, like alcohol induced partying, but then there's also this discipline that is needed to create the work that he has. He has this genius that is like scattered and all over the place, but it's all held together in love. We really would not have the works we have by him if it weren't for his loving wife. Um, so I think when we hear him, we need to like just say a prayer or something like, "Thank you, dear loving wife." Finland is so proud of him, and of course they should be. His work is world renowned. It is beautiful. Go listen to some Jean Sibelius.